she has a moment with Jesus that changes everything. Then she runs towards people. Welcome to the Far More Podcast. Hey, Liz.
Hey, Jason.
Welcome to the Far More Podcast, or maybe a Far More snack.
Well, I mean, I do love num-nums. I do love me some snacks. I call them num-nums. So it's a little podcast num-num.
Okay, well, what's our num-num for the day?
So today we're going to talk about, it's kind of hard. We're talking about Jesus, love, and compassion. And before those of you out there are like, why is that hard? Because if you look at the way Jesus loved others and the way he shows compassion, it's very challenging, because especially for me, I mean, showing compassion is sometimes really, really hard.
I mean, not for someone like me.
Say more, girl.
How is it hard for you? Because of the two of us, you're the more emotionally driven one.
You know what it is?
What is it?
It's looking in the mirror also.
What do you mean?
Because I'm finding it hard being compassionate towards myself, because I'm the one repeatedly making the dumb mistakes and making the dumb decisions. So it's why should he be compassionate towards me when it's all my fault?
Oh, Jesus being compassionate towards you, not you being compassionate towards others.
Well, that's where I started, but then I was like, no, actually, it's because it's starting with me. I'm sure, isn't it kind of hard to show compassion to others if you don't show it to yourself?
Well, but I think, it depends. So for me, I can start from a place of empathy because I know how broken I am.
Well, yeah,
right?
I know how broken I am, too.
And I know I'm like just a series of bad decisions away from being in whatever horrible situation that someone else could be in. Yeah. So I think starting from a place of empathy helps me lead to compassion. But I'm always fighting my analytical side of, well, you got yourself there. Why don't you get yourself out?
You know what? Too. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I have heard you. I'm not blaming you.
Oh, I feel blamed.
You shouldn't feel blamed.
Okay, come on.
But I think maybe your attitude about it is starting to creep in to my brain. And so I'm like, well, girl, you're the one that got yourself in this situation yet again. So no compassion for you. And maybe I'm projecting that onto other people.
Yeah, well, that's definitely an unintended consequence. That's not what I'm trying to do with that. I think I do have a disposition of, if there's something you can work your way out of and put some hard work towards it, don't blame the world, the situation, a spiritual attack. Don't blame these things if you can work your way out of it. We've talked about it before, because I can do behavior modification.
Yeah.
That's how I think is, well, just change your behavior and then.
I bristled a little bit when you said don't blame it on a spiritual attack.
Okay. Tell me why.
Well, because what if it is a spiritual attack?
But what if it's your own sin nature? I think we discount our own sin nature and overemphasize spiritual attacks in Satan.
I don't disagree with that, actually.
And so I think that's where I come from, is a lot of that's just our own sin nature that we have to work through.
Like, take accountability for yourself. Don't blame everything on Satan. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, this may sound harsh, but hey, Satan doesn't care that much about you because you ain't doing that much for the kingdom. It's probably your own sin nature.
Oh, I felt that deep in my soul.
Right. And I don't mean that.
No, you're
sharp,
right.
But I'm like, I think we over project things.
I think you are. I do not disagree with you. I think you are right. Absolutely.
So I'm like, I'm not giving Satan that much power.
Well, and so don't give him that much credit either.
So I'm not giving that much credit.
Because our sin nature is strong enough on its own.
100%. But
back to Jesus.
Jesus has a different storyline there.
Oh, thank goodness. Aren't you so grateful for Jesus?
Yes.
So one of the stories that stands out to me a lot, maybe not the most, but it's just one that I feel like just kept being brought to mind when I was thinking about this topic, is the Samaritan woman at the well. And Jesus, he goes to the well. She's there in the middle of the day, which is an atypical time. It's not a very typical time for them to be drawing water out of the well.
Well, Jesus shouldn't have been there either.
Right. He wasn't, quote unquote, supposed to be there either, because typically they would take the route around Samaria.
Yeah, he was going from Judea to Galilee.
Right.
And as a Jewish man,
usually they go to the east.
Jews and Samaritans, no interaction. So let me go
around.
Not
copacetic.
I think it's like a 3-day journey, like out of the way to go around.
Right. I think that shows the big deal of he knew.
The intentionality.
Intentionality. So he went through and ended up in Samaria, and there's the Samaritan woman at the well. She's drawing the water. She's all by herself. And he comes up to her, and I can only imagine what she must have been feeling.
Well, embarrassed
in that moment.
Like she went.
Shame.
Well, she went in the middle of the day to avoid people. Right. And so if it's me, I'm going, listen, I'm embarrassed of my life. I'm trying to do this thing. I'm trying to get water in the middle of the day and not talk or see to anybody. Get some water and get back out of here.
Right.
And then I go to the well. And
I want to go unnoticed.
Right. And then there's a Jewish man there.
Right.
I feel like I would be like, I might have just turned around.
Well, but she didn't.
She didn't.
And he just shows so much love and so much compassion towards her. I mean, just the fact that he went there because he knew that she was going to be there, that in and of itself just shows so much love and compassion, because y'all, I am messed up. I am still a hot mess. I've said that in previous episodes. I'm still being sanctified. And I mean, I know we all are. But I can, even though I wasn't in her same situation, I can sympathize with what she must have been feeling, because I feel often, Jesus, I don't deserve your love. I don't deserve your compassion. I'm so, for lack of a better word, unclean, because that's what she was considered. The Bible, at least, some translations refer to her as being unclean. And I feel that.
You know what I find difficult in that passage is Jesus actually draws out her confession a little bit, right? Jesus goes, hey, why don't you go get your husband and bring him here too?
She's like,
and puts her in a situation where she has to say, I don't
not
have
married.
a husband. And he's like, yeah, I know, but you had 5 husbands and the guy you're with now is not your husband. Draws out that insecurity and vulnerability too. It's puts it on the table. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah. But I bet he did it in the perfect way.
Well, clearly, because she didn't run away.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the
she
thing.
was still there, drawn in, and had a conversation not just about the physical water, but about the living water that Jesus was trying to provide her.
Right.
And it was so powerful that she winds up, leaving the jar there, running back to her village and sharing the gospel.
Right.
She went from let me go here, hide, avoid people, just hide my sin.
Do whatever I can so that I do not see another soul.
Compassionate Jesus in her situation. She has a moment with Jesus. A moment with Jesus.
A heart transformation.
That changes everything. Then she runs towards people. If we think about how Jesus then tries to teach us on how to be compassionate, he talks about parables as he's teaching us. And he talks about the parable of the Good Samaritan. So kind of connecting it there. And when I think about that story, and I think about a man on the road to Jericho, robbers kind of beat him up, take his stuff. Right? And then priest comes along, looks over there. Nope, not today. Goes the other way. Levite comes along. Not worthy to do that either.
Nope.
Samaritan comes along. And we're talking about the road to Jericho is a really dangerous road. He clearly knew there were risk involved. Compassion means there's probably risk involved. It's not, I feel a certain way. I have to believe the priest and the Levite in that story, their hearts kind of broke for the man that was beat up. They just knew it was too risky
They weren't
Or they
willing. They weren't willing to put their life on the
weren't
line.
willing to cross the road and put themselves into danger,
Right.
or break the rules in order to do something. But
Oh, those rules. There we go again with
the
rules.
Samaritan is like, you know what? If not me, then who?
Mm-hmm.
Willing to say, I'm going to risk the thing
Right.
to go love on this person. And I think that's part of the compassion aspect. Compassion isn't just about a feeling. It's about what are we willing to put on the line to actually show
So
out
it's
love.
an action
It's
word.
an action word,
Compassion
not a
is actually
feeling word.
an action word.
That's where I'm going with that. I think both
But
love
so is
and
love.
compassion,
Yeah.
they're action words. They're not feelings. They have to be delivered. Jesus obviously is the ultimate model of that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you bring it to present day, like, who do you look up to? Who do you think about when you think about really showing love, showing compassion?
So, way back in the day, I used to work at a place called Eye Masters, and
Masters?
I made glasses.
You were not an optometrist.
No,
Okay. I didn't know if I missed a career.
nope, you did not miss a career, nor a big bank account as well. But I made glasses, and my manager, his name is Robb Parker, and he is just a wonderful man. He is so funny and goofy, but not just that. He is so loving and so compassionate. And he and a group of people from his church go out every single Monday. I mean, rain, shine, 100 degrees outside, it doesn't matter. They are out there, and they go and they visit the unhoused, and they give them water. They love on them.
They know them by name.
They know them by
know them by
name.
name.
And these people know them too.
Right.
They are so excited to see, at least from what I can tell from what Robb posts about them, because he does want us to be praying, and I can tell that they look forward to them coming, because these are probably people that most other people avoid, just like that Samaritan woman. She went to go get the water during a day when she knew nobody else was going to be there. And so I think about Robb and the people who go with him to love on these people. There's no expectation there. They're not going with some agenda other than to just show the love of Jesus.
Wait, that's really important, right? They're not going to, quote, fix people.
No.
Right? They're going to just to love people.
Just to love
I think
people
a lot of
right where they
times-
are.
I think a lot of times, especially those us here in America, they're just blessed. We are like, okay, we're going to go into this situation and fix something.
Look at us.
Look at us go fix something. And,
Right.
And what I hear you say, though, is Robb and the folks go with him, they're just loving people.
Yes.
They're just sitting there trying to meet some basic needs, of course.
Yes, they are.
But they're not like, hey, let me save you. Let me fix you.
But what's really cool is sometimes these people that they are going to visit, they'll say, hey, can I pray for you? And I can't imagine, y'all, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. You know, you are going with a mission mind, and there's got to be some part in their head that is like, I do want to help you become restored. But then you go and they're like, hey, can I pray for you? I don't even have words on what that must feel like. But that is my living example, my modern day example, if you will. The overarching theme of all of it is just love and compassion. It's not judgment. Like, look at your life. Look at how what are you doing?
It's not you've done this to yourself, right?
Right.
Like how
It's
I
not.
started.
It's not. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up, because it actually made me, I don't know. It's so hard. I think, you know what? I said something wrong at the beginning of this podcast. I said that you have to show yourself compassion to show other people compassion. That's not true, because I do show other people compassion, but I think it's most hard for me to show myself compassion.
Yeah.
So I was wrong right off the bat.
I think that's true for all of us. But
Why? Why is it easier for you to show other people compassion than it is for you to show yourself compassion?
I think it's easier for me to show others compassion than it is to show myself grace. I guess that's what I'd say. Yeah. But again, we've talked about I'm harder on myself than anybody. So so I think that's different.
I think it is too. You're critical of yourself.
I'm critical. I am maybe unhealthily critical of myself. So therapy session. But what Rob and his team does, their love is consistent.
They show up every Monday. It's consistent. And I think that's what we're called to as well. Is it's not just a moment of, hey, we went and did a thing. We did a mission trip. We did let's go do this thing once a quarter and
right.
We're good.
Consistently showing up day in, day out, week in, week out, regardless if it's raining.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how that's how people know that you actually care about them. Mm-hmm. And so that's just, it's inspirational to watch. So I think just kind of connecting that as much as someone like Robb inspires us, again, we are called so uniquely on how we serve and how we show love and show compassion to others. And so for me, it does go back to even how we started this podcast of Jesus is a model. Jesus does teach us. So it's lean into what is Jesus saying to us in his living word of how do we need to be doing things uniquely to show love, show compassion.
Right. And I think it's also important to, this is like a convicting thing for me.
Oh boy.
I love having my AirPods in and listening to like a podcast or listening to something when I'm kind of just out in the world doing things.
You like to be in your own little world.
I like to be in my own little world, consuming the things that I want to consume and entertaining myself. But I have been convicted, and I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it to not put them in, because you never know when, where, how God is going to orchestrate me running into someone who needs to be shown love and compassion and just to be seen. I mean, I think about the Samaritan woman again. I'm sure she felt alienated, or
of course,
I won't even talk about her, just people in general. I think a lot of times we feel like we aren't seen and loved. And if Jesus is calling us to do that, but we have an intentional distraction, like me with the AirPods in, listening to whatever, then I'm going to miss that. And I'm not saying that I'm the only opportunity for someone to know Jesus, but I've missed my call.
Yeah. But I think the call is be ready and be intentional. I think that's the call to action, I would say, as we kind of wrap this one up, is be ready, be intentional, be leaned in, listen to how Jesus is coaching and teaching you specifically,
right?
Not just as you
not
see
others,
someone, you specifically, on how to show love and compassion.
I think that is a great call to action. And it's something I have to remind myself when I go to put it in. I'm like, I'm going to listen to my true crime podcast. Nope, not today, girl. You can do that at home while you're doing laundry. But when you're out with the world, when there is an opportunity to show the love of Jesus to somebody, be there. Yeah. Be there. Be intentional.
That was a pretty large snack.
That
might have been a full podcast episode.
Are you okay with that?
I don't know. I'm pretty full on that snack.
We are so glad that you're here. If this is your first time with us, welcome. Like all the things. Don't make it your last time. No,
don't make it your last time.
Make it part of your normal routine.
That's right.
We would love for you to subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. And we are on all the socials, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, everything. We are Far More Podcast on everything. And y'all, we're so grateful for you. We're so grateful for those who are supporting us. It means a lot. It makes us a little nervous.
A little? A
Little.
lot of nervous.
A
for
lot of
me.
nervous. A lot of nervous.
I live in a land of a lot of nervous, though.
That's true. But y'all, we can't wait until next time when we get to dive into another topic with y'all on the Far More podcast. And until then, show the love of Jesus.
Thanks, y'all.